What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue, and I hope you're all doing well today. In a recent hotfix announced by Blizzard, more gear will be able to be converted using the Creation Catalyst, which is scheduled to open up on April 12th for NA servers and the 13th of April for EU servers. If you need more information on exactly how the Catalyst works and how you convert gear into tier, I suggest checking out my video that I did on it a couple weeks ago, but that's not really the topic for today. Two new sources of gear have been included in the Creation Catalyst, and they are Antros, the world boss of Zereth Mortis, and the Sandworn relic gear that you buy from Rafiq in Pilgrim's Grace. This gives more casual players or people with alt armies a couple new ways to get tier sets on characters that don't get used much or at all in group content, which is something I'm very happy to see put in because previously the Catalyst was only going to be usable for PvPers, Mythic Plus players, and raiders. Antros is located on the Antecedent Isle, and any gear that he drops can be converted with the Creation Catalyst. If you have flying, it's really simple to just fly over to his island and find a group with the automatic group finder, but if you don't have flying yet, there is a teleporter in that big fissure area to the northern part of Zereth Mortis, just south of the isle on the map. His loot table is pretty small, and I recommend killing him once a week for a chance at gear you can convert. The only armor type that gets kinda screwed by this is mail wearers, because Antros will only drop bracers and belts for them, and neither of those are tier slots, so even if you convert them with the Catalyst, they will not gain a tier effect. I assume that's because Blizzard really didn't plan on adding Antros' loot to the eligible Catalyst options, so they didn't think to include tier slots for hunters and shamans, unfortunately. Your other option is to farm the crap out of Sandworn Relics, as there is a vendor named Rafiq over in Pilgrim's Grace on the eastern side of Zereth Mortis. All of his gear is item level 246, and can be converted using the Creation Catalyst. The armor he sells ranges in prices from as low as 160 Sandworn Relics for small things like bracers, belts, and cloaks, all the way up to 300 relics for helmets, chest pieces, and legs. Your tier armor slots are helmet, chest, shoulders, gloves, and legs, so it will take quite a lot of relics to afford 4 pieces of tier armor eligible slots. At minimum, you will need 1,060 relics if you buy gloves, shoulders, and 2 of the 300 relic pieces. If you choose to buy all 3 of the 300 relic pieces, then it'll cost you 1,130 relics to make a tier set. Sandworn relics can only come from a very limited amount of sources, which I'll go over quickly so you know what to do and where to go to earn them. 2 guaranteed and very large sources of Sandworn relics include Antros, the world boss, and your weekly cash for completing the patterns within Patterns quest. Antros gives between 9 and 50 relics, and Patterns within Patterns gives between 50 to 70. Be sure to check the daily quests that are available too, as they can have Sandworn relics as part of their completion rewards. This isn't always the case though, so just double check them to be on the safe side if you want to farm as many as possible. The Rarespawns in the Endless Sands area of Zereth Mortis, basically that desert area to the northeast, are also another source of relics. You should get between 3 to 10 relics for every rare you kill once a day, so once you've killed them, don't try re-killing them and re-farming them because they won't drop anything. I'll leave coordinates in a pinned comment for all of these rares that drop relics, but just so you know them by name, they are Garudian, General Zarathura, Mother Festus, and Icarus. Lastly, the Sandworn chest should be looted once a day for a total of between 12 to 30 relics. To open the Sandworn chest, you will need a Sandworn key, of course, and to get this key, you will need to loot 5 Sandworn key fragments from the various moss-worn and dominated automa throughout the Endless Sands section of Zereth Mortis. They have a very high drop rate, and I just kill a bunch of stuff around the middle circle area to get my key fragments. This next tip seems really weird, but from what I've seen from others and experienced myself, the Sandworn chest will not appear for you that day unless you've looted key fragments that same day, even if you already have key fragments or entire keys in your inventory. It's really weird, and as soon as I looted some fragments, I was able to see the chest. There are a few locations that the Sandworn chest will spawn, so I'll leave some coordinates in a pinned comment for those so you can check around, but I honestly just found it by flying around in a circle around the area for a few minutes. Again, the Sandworn chest can only be opened once per day per character, so don't just keep farming keys because you're not going to see it again until the next day. Between killing a few rares a day, checking for dailies that reward relics, opening your Sandworn chest every day, killing the world boss once a week, and completing your Patterns within Patterns weekly quest, it is pretty easy to hit 300 relics per week, And since the catalyst is only going to let you convert one item per week, this works out pretty fairly for casual players or folks who want to get their alt some tier without having to bother with doing anything too strenuous. And somehow people are always surprised to hear this and leave comments about it because they don't understand, but there are plenty of people that I know and have talked to regularly that just don't like grouping up with other people. So it's good to see that now literally everyone has a way of getting tier sets and other cool benefits that come with them, whether they PvP, raid, do Mythic Plus, or none of the above. The only real limitation on this method of farming tier gear is that you're always going to have noticeably lower item level than other players. But honestly, the difficulty of just killing a few rares and doing some dailies is pretty low compared to the amount of power you're going to gain from completing a tier set. And for people with alts, this is just a nice and really chill way to still keep them at least a little caught up. Anyways folks, I hope this guide proves useful to you once the creation catalyst is open. If so, feel free to leave a like or maybe even a comment, as they're both greatly helpful to the unrelenting YouTube algorithm's demand for community engagement. As always, my appreciation and gratitude to all of my viewers and especially my patrons, who all help make these Shiba Shenanigans possible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.